Hi everybody, my name is Jessica Holyfield. I'm a professional dancer, professional dance choreographer, and dance educator based out of the southeast of the United States. And we have Bada versus Mina Myoung as leader class worst dancer battle. This is the full cam uncut, so we're not going to get any weird cuts from this one, which I'm very excited about. Now, I know that this is most likely have taken place after the dance rank mission is concluded before the K-pop challenge. So I do think Mnet, they are, they're not just giving us all the battles of the first couple episodes, they're dispersing them throughout the show, which is nice for a couple of reasons. We're able to see certain crews that have already been eliminated, but also we're able to kind of feel out, and it's just see their growth and see different avenues of them as artists. So I think that's really cool. But we're gonna go ahead and we're just gonna get started.
Fight!
Mina's doing her Mina thing, guys. Woo! Woo! Yeah, Bada! That was really good from her. Okay, here we go. That's fun. That was fun. Yeah, okay. All right, battle complete. Let's take a look here. So Bada out the gate. Goodness gracious. Here's the thing. I've said this from the get-go. She was one of my favorite dancers that I was looking forward to the most in the show. And honestly, her freestyles have really caught me off guard with how great of quality they are. Excuse me. I think that her dynamics and her choices, there's not really many things that she's overly repeating. Her fingerprints are definitely switching up enough to where it's not enough for me to take note of, or even be like, hey, I've seen that before, and I think that's mad impressive. I will say a lot of how she carries her transitions is her usage of her feet. I mean, of course you transition with your feet a lot of times, people do, obviously, right? But I'm talking about like kind of I'm sitting down, but whenever you see like with her feet how she's choosing to go back, they're kind of locked in a little bit,
Are you ready?
Which we'll go back and we'll take a note of, which is what I was talking about here. Yeah, so she does a lot of like popping up, using the heel to really pop up her knees, which creates this really nice staccato pocket in the lower half of her body, so the upper half can be a little bit more chill, and that's what creates the aesthetic that she has, which I really like. And she does a good job of like using her torso when needed, and she has this really nice she gives off there's a lot of K-pop boy idols. Whenever they dance, they have a similar pocket that she's done, and she's one of the very few that I think does it where it just feels so authentic, and it's really cool, and I love it, And she's taking moments, she's building up, because when you have a set amount of time, so you can choose how to do with it as you wish. She's building up her energy. She's not just popping off from the get-go, which is really nice. And sometimes that's really helpful. I love that things that she's making sense. She's doing some tutting variations and bringing it around the head to some threads, kind of integrating more of use of her elbows, traveling it down to the legs, and then bringing it back up to the arms. Nice little groove there. Boom, money, hey. And then she's just sitting there, like, you know, like those are really good examples of like when you write a groove, you can add something to it instead of just doing the same thing. Like those are really good instances, and your commitment to it as well. And that's something that I've really been impressed by Bada specifically, is she's committed to the whole thing, not just certain movements or figuring out what to do next. She's committed to the entirety of it, including transitions, including where she wants to go with it. And that's a really impressive thing that I've been noticing from her. You know, so then watch what she did. So she turned it into more of a hip ISO, and then she switched, subtly turned it into a switching out, into switching her weight between her legs to create a more staccato with the knee groove. Mad impressive that it was just very seamless into that, which is super nice. You know, and then she slowed it down, and instead of doing the hips, she went just the knees, but legato the knees, but then really created a really stiff upper body. That was fun. Yeah, the bad to the, you know, like she has a really good way of like being not a passive disser, but like a lot of people are very aggressive in their approach. Like Yoonji's a great example. Like she can own it. When she gets in your face, she'll get in your face, but Bada doesn't get in your face in the same way. Like she goes, you know, like, it ain't even worth it. You know, but sometimes, of course, she does get in your face. I think we saw that for whenever she did. It was her very first battle I reacted to in season 2. It was between her and, was it Ready? Maybe? I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't remember who it was. I think it was, yeah. But yeah, so that's like, it was really fun. Even that there. And then that fold over. Yeah, so I would say that is something, you know, I did mention in the beginning, I wasn't noticing as many fingerprints. I mean, in real time, it wasn't as obvious, but I do notice here, because remember, I do have it at 0.75, so I'm able to see things a lot more clear. I am noticing that little thread variation that she did. We have seen that already before, you know, but she did it with more, but how she came in and out of it was different. You know, I'm always a 3 strikes, you're out kind of situation. You know, we had some people, I think Redalik, she had a 3 strikes, you're out hinge that she did in her set against Latrice, because I've already reacted to that at this point. And so I think that it's something, she's on a strike 2 with that overhead thread. That was a really nice moment where she turned and she held it, and then she broke out of it when she was ready. I love that. And even that groove there is still different than the rotation of the hips and horizontal. She's approaching it with more of a dig that's vertical, which I really like. Yeah. And the bad to the, like, she's vibing out really well. I will say this too as a note, because I've seen her choreography for a couple years now before I've seen her in this show. And I feel like her grooves and her movement that she puts in her choreo, I think really help her in these freestyles, because how she connects it looks very organic, and it doesn't look as manufactured as other styles of choreography, if that makes sense. So I feel like that really helped her when carrying it over to freestyle, and like I said, I mean, I am impressed with her. From just in general, out of most of the ones who have a heavier choreographic background, she is holding her own very well. And I would say that about Leah Kim too. I would say we had just a really disappointing start, but I'm gonna blame Mnet for that. A disappointing start to what we've seen from Leah Kim, but I know I have a couple battles coming up. I feel like I've already seen her excerpts of them, but I haven't seen it in like the battle comparison form yet. But like that Leah Kim's another example of like someone who's just really, I mean, it's really nice to kind of see her foundation of where she came from. You know, I just love that. And being able to exchange with Baby Sleek, like, I'm very excited for that. But all in all, I would say, like, Bada Lee, her choreography, I think really, her choreographic wheelhouse really helped her in this realm of battling. And she's been very lucky with who she's been battling against. I'm going to also say that, too. Because if she was against Wolflow, or she was against another like a crew like Wolflow, or even Mana Queen like with a heavy whacker, I think she would have had a more difficult time. But I do think that she's been very fortunate with who she's been up against in some contexts. So right, so now we have Mina. That's a really fun setup when they're building it. That's fun. That's really fun, you know. No, she's building this is really well, you know, with the reverbs. And how she bled into the wax is really nice, but I will say we have seen some of these variations before from her against Leah Kim in the earlier episodes. So that is my prime example of something you want to avoid, is to avoid making your movement sequences so obvious that I have seen them before. You know, when it comes to riding the rhythm in a similar way, you know what I mean? I would say even with Mana Queen, you got some of the girls on Mana Queen that are symptoms of that, you know? But also, it all depends on when it happened in the show, too. That's another big thing as well. I feel like there's a certain point, like even with the kick, she did a kick variation that we've already seen before, right? Even here, she is committing to what she's doing. I think that's great. I feel that whenever you look at some of the rhythms that Bada took and chose to do in her music, I think really helped her in this battle, because Mina is still hanging out on, I mean, she hits a couple Annienas with her whacking, but a lot of her other techniques that she's trying to demonstrate here, she's hitting on the Anzas and on the whole counts, which a lot of times it doesn't feel like she is in the music. I would say Bada took some really nice moments to vibe in the music, and that just stems back from her grooving and how she grooves. It works really well with that style of music. Here with Mina, she, you know, she's hitting certain parts of the music, but it doesn't feel like she's in the music as invested as what we've seen against her opponent. Because remember, we have to compare. You know, if I looked at this independently, we can go off of a unsatisfactory, below average, average, superior kind of ranking in isolation if we're going off of that type of criteria. But we're not. We're going who did their set better in their song that was chosen for them in the battle. Mina with this song, or Bada with her song. And that's really, you know, once again, it's my opinion and my feedback, you know, it really doesn't play any role in the results of these shows at all. You know, it's all for good fun. And how she, you know, how she's trying to hit and everything, you know, she held attention the whole time, which is good, and it's definitely an improvement from what we saw when we saw her battle against Leah Kim. I think that whole battle was just so much tea happening there, so much tension happening there. I feel like neither did their best there. I think she did a little bit better here. But if I were to choose, I would pick Bada over Mina, because Bada wrote her music better. I think with Mina, she had more predictable rhythms that she chose for her whacking, which is something like, yes, does Mana Queen, do they repeat variations? They can, but you have to know that they wrote different rhythms with it. They made different posture choices with it. They didn't hit it in the same way, which was something I noticed that Mina did. And so that's kind of my overall note for that. I do like the beginning, what Mina brought. I do see improvement on what Mina did, but was it strong enough against what Bada did? Unfortunately, I don't believe so. But I love watching dances. I love watching battles. I love watching people exchange regardless of the energy. Like, I really love this environment, and I love learning so much about these dancers, which is just super freaking great. I love it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope this was helpful in some way. I've been really enjoying this series so far. And if you want to see more Street Woman Fighter content, whether it's season 1 or season 2, I have access to it on Patreon. It should be ad-free. And also, if you have recommendations for me on what to watch and you notice that I haven't really touched on it, or or it's not in the plans to be reacted to, I have a couple tier options that are a really good thing that you could look at. If you really want me to take a look at it, you can submit a recommendation there, and it'll help me keep track of it, because I do get a lot of recommendations in these videos, which makes me feel very encouraged. But I am fearful if I react to one and not another, I'll feel bad. So it's just an easier way to keep track of everything. So, but yeah, thank you again, and I will check you on the flip side. Bye.